Welcome to a special online edition of the 5 on 5. I'm joined in studio today by Oregon's U.S. Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley. We're all practicing good physical distancing in studio. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to the Rogue Valley today after all these horrific fires. Senator Wyden, we'll start with you as our longest serving senator. 50 plus people missing here in Jackson County, 600 homes, 100 plus businesses destroyed. Have you ever seen anything like this in Oregon?
Craig, nothing close. We just went on a tour of Phoenix and Talent, and it was simply horrifying. We saw Oregonians who've lost everything. They've lost their homes, they've lost their businesses, they've lost memories. The only thing they haven't lost is the incredible neighbor helping neighbor spirit. And that is what still leaves me so positive and so inspired about this community's ability to recover and rebound. And Senator Merkley and I and Congressman Wyden, the whole congressional delegation is all in on this. We met here for hours. Nobody once brought up Democrats and Republicans. It was all about the Oregon way and how we were going to help.
Senator Merkley, what struck you most about the destruction from the Alameda fire from that tour you went on?
I'll tell you, as we went down the road, it reminded me pictures of cities that had been firebombed during World War II. It also reminded me of when I was a small child, the big explosion in Roseburg that wiped out the city blocks. I just remember seeing that charred, hulking concrete masses, and today that's what we were seeing, just mile after mile of burned out buildings. And so much of what was burned were mobile home parks and apartments that serve the lowest income members of the community. And so the people least able to withstand a shock, who have already gone through coronavirus, who have already gone through the challenge of the economic implosion, now hit with the impact of losing everything in their homes. It's going to take a response at every level, from the neighbors to the cities, to the counties, to the state, to the federal government, to work with incredible diligence to try to help people land on their feet.
Senator Wyden, you both visited survivors at the Jackson County Expo today. I know how packed it's been over there. What stood out to you most about that experience?
What stood out to me is they are working their heads off to help the most vulnerable, for example, senior citizens who, of course, have some challenges getting around, may have pre-existing conditions. It also drove home for me how much more work is left to do. What we've been able to accomplish thus far is get the emergency declaration from the government. And this basically ensures that folks are safe. But I know that I heard throughout the last day or so that there were folks sleeping in the parking lot. That's just not acceptable in our state. We're better than that. And Senator Merkley and I now are going to be bird dogging the FEMA rules. That's the agency that deals with emergencies, to make sure that folks actually get these vouchers so that they can have a shelter over their head after they've taken such an economic wallop.
Senator Merkley, I wanted to ask you something similar to that. We've seen an incredible outpouring in our community of everyone coming together through these horrific last few days, but the healing process takes a long time. Can you speak to that at all?
You know, I met families who were in very different places. Some families were just, we got out, our children are safe, our animals are safe, and right now I'm just thankful. And then you had folks who had family members who they were still uncertain if those family members are okay or not. And then you had folks who had started to think about the enormous amount that they had lost in losing their home, because it contains everything from perhaps their generation and their parents' generation, all the memories, the films, the pictures, the whatever special things that family had. And so there was going to be enormous appreciation when lives have been saved, and enormous grief over life experiences destroyed. and a lot of concern about the economic future. So it just struck me that for all three groups of families, right now the outpouring of help from the community means so much. To be able to come in and someone has dropped off a walker for a senior person, someone else has dropped off a car seat for a baby, other folks have brought in diapers and towels and toothpaste and toothbrushes and hair combs and blankets. And surrounding people with like, we have you right now, what do you need, how can we take care of you? And it's that spirit that means so much at this moment, and the spirit that we're going to have to carry forward for many months to come.
Senator Wyden, federal assistance is coming through FEMA. What is the timeline for that? What can people who are watching right now expect through that process?
There's help that's going to be arriving just in the next day or so. And again, those are the services that just help people stay safe. We're now getting ready to move to what's called the disaster declaration. And one of the areas I'm going to concentrate on is the housing challenge. As we all know, this area has had a real housing crunch even before this incredible monster of a fire. Now we've got people in much more serious straits. So the disaster declaration, and it will follow the same process as the emergency declaration. It will come initially from the governor to Washington, D.C., and then Senator Merkley and I and Congressman Wyden, the delegation, we will all move to support it. But I want Oregonians to know that I'll be focused particularly in that second declaration, the one dealing with disasters, on this housing challenge. Because if folks are having difficulty, and clearly, based on what we've seen, they're falling between the cracks right now in terms of getting adequate shelter, we're going to have a lot more to do with respect to securing the housing we're going to need as a part of a disaster declaration. It'll take a little bit more time because given the budget consequences, we want to make sure when we send it in, we get it right and it doesn't come back to us. But I can tell you, we'll really be zeroed in on the housing challenge that folks are facing in Southern Oregon.
Senator Merkley, we still have fires across Southern Oregon and the entire state. I understand 375 National Guards men and women who have been pre-trained to fight fire are coming here. How did that come about?
Well, 3 years ago, and we were having a terrible fire season, I started working to get money in the federal budget to train our Oregon National Guard and National Guard across the country to help fight fires. We were able to get about $8 million a year for that, slightly more this last year. Oregon's share of that has been enough to train 3 teams of 125 members, or 375 as you mentioned. The governor contacted the National Guard and asked for 2 more teams, and they said they didn't have the monies for training. But because of the appropriations committee that I serve on, I was pretty sure that was not right, so I put my team to work. They did track down, there was still money left. We did get it allocated by the administration, which is great. We'll have 2 more teams, another 250 members of the National Guard helping out. But here's the challenge. One is we need trainers, so we're searching the country for the trainers because the trainers are all out working. Second is we need crew chiefs, and the crew chiefs are all highly trained individuals who coordinate the whole effort, and they are out on fires now. So we don't have the project complete to get that extra 250 people. We've still got to solve the problem of the trainers and the crew chiefs, but we're hard at it.
Senator Wyden, as we wrap up, do you have any final words for our viewers?
First, I just want to say how much I admire the spirit of our communities that have been hit so hard. So many would basically, after this kind of economic wallop, say, you know, there's really not much we can do, and just sort of get resigned to the situation. That is not the Oregon way. We don't know the concept of giving up. What we're doing is moving now to recover and rebound. I want folks to know that the visit that the congressional delegation, and I guess this is how I'd wrap it up, Craig, I've had 970 open to all town hall meetings in my time representing Oregon in the United States Senate. So I so value being out in the community. I have never valued it more than over the last couple of days. And I want folks in Southern Oregon to know that the visit that the congressional delegation made here over the last couple of days is the beginning. It's the start. We know that we're going to have our sleeves rolled up for many, many months in order to try to restore what so many have lost. We are committed as a congressional delegation on a bipartisan basis, House and Senate, to stay at it until we get those results.
Senator Merkley, is there anything you'd like to say?
You know, when the wind came up and the fire kicked in and started sweeping down, and this happened in the Santiam, it happened in the McKenzie, it happened in Clackamas, and it happened here, the local police, sheriffs, the firefighters, everyone just sprung to be engaged and try to limit the damage. We've met with so many of them. Many of them did very risky things to help out, to notify people for evacuation, make more efforts, even as the fire was bearing down just a short distance away, to get people out. And so let's just, if you see one of our service officials, thank them for everything they did and are doing and will be doing. And our local elected officials have immediately started thinking about ways to try to magnify assistance. For example, the mayor of Phoenix working to raise the idea of putting a command center right in downtown Phoenix, so it'll be very close to talent in Phoenix, not someplace far away, and so forth. So they're trying to get power restored, trying to get electricity generators delivered. So they're working hard. Everybody's in this together. Thank you to everybody in Oregon for the Oregon spirit that's being displayed. We're going to have to be working together for helping people get back on their feet for a long time to come.
Senator Wyden, Senator Merkley, thank you so much for taking the time and being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.